Okay, sadly, my phone stopped recording again. I think it's because every time I get a message, it stops the recording. I've turned those off, so hopefully no more messages and the video can carry on regardless. Okay, so let's rub all that out. Now, last thing we're going to be doing today, at least, is we're going to be looking at writing notes on a stave. So I'm just going to flip over. For me, it's going to be a lot easier because I've got squared lines on here. Okay, this is where you're going to need your ruler again. You need your 5 horizontal lines to draw your stave. Once again, I'm doing things backwards. Start from the bottom up. Let's do that again. Let's start at the top. Okay, so let's start up there. Let's go from there because I need as much space as possible. So you need 5 horizontal lines. Make sure they're nice and straight as best you can. If you're just watching the video, instead of drawing 5 horizontal lines, get your pen, get your paper, get your ruler, start drawing, so you're not just sat there doing nothing. You have to pause the video later on. Right, so I've got my 5 horizontal lines, and from earlier on we said this is called a stave. Okay, S-T-A-V-E, this is my stave. Now what we're looking at first of all is we're going to be looking at clefs, C-L-E-F-S, and notes. So we looked at note values, we looked at how long they last for, we looked at their relationship to each other, we've looked at time signatures, we've looked at bars and bar lines. Okay, we're now looking at clefs and notes. First clef we're going to look at something called the treble clef. Treble clef. Okay, T-R-E-B-L-E. Treble clef looks like this. Okay, that's the treble clef. People sometimes call it the right hand clef because it's what you get in front of the right hand on the piano. Okay, but you get it on lots of instruments. You get it for voice, you get it for violins, you get it for guitars, you get it for all sorts of stuff. The treble clef. Here's what it looks like. So start at your bottom line, okay, and you want to kind of draw almost a circle, go round till you get to your bottom line again, curve back up. Okay, so you're going all the way to the top line. This is when you start curving back in on yourself, and you get to the top line, you start coming back all the way down, curve, pretty much straight line back down below the stave, and then put a little black dot at the bottom, and it should look like that. If you've never drawn one before, draw out a few treble clefs until you get it looking as good as possible. Practice drawing that out, okay? It's just good practice to know what it looks like to be able to draw one. Okay, so that's the treble clef. And what we're doing now is we're going to look at where the notes are found on the treble clef. Now hopefully, because you guys in year 10, you know what that notes are. You know there are in total 12 different notes. Okay, we're just going to be looking at 7 of them first of all. Okay, so our first 7. Let's start things easy as possible. We've got notes which can go on the lines. So here's my bottom line, a note on that. I can have a note on the second line, note on the third line, note on the fourth line, and a note on that 5th line at the top. Okay, now I've done semi-breves, they could be minims, and here's where the lines start going down. As soon as you get too high up, you don't want them lines going really high up, this is where they start going down. They could be crotchets, okay, and I could fill them in. They could be quavers, they could be whatever. It doesn't matter at the moment what the time value is. What matters at the moment is where they are on our stave. And on our stave, at the moment, they're on the lines. So we've got one on our bottom line, second line, third line, fourth line, 5th line. The notes are E, G, B, D, and F. These are our 5 notes. Okay? You need to know what these notes are. You need to be able to remember them. You need to basically have it instinctual so you know what these notes are. E, G, B, D, and F. It's not going to happen straight away, so people make little things to remember. And I want you to remember that every green, what does it say green, bus drives fast. Every green bus drives fast, E, G, B, D, F. There's other ones, okay, there's things like every good boy deserves football. Just remember this one, every green bus drives fast, okay? These are the notes that are in the lines. Sorry, these are notes that are on the lines, as you can see. Notes can either be on the lines like there, or the only other place they can go for the time being is they can go in the spaces in between the lines. So our notes on our lines, E, G, B, D, and F. E, G, B, D, and F when it starts from the bottom up. That top line is not E, so the bottom line is E. So E, G, B, D, and F are our notes on our lines, okay? Or they can be in the spaces in between the lines, okay? So that's not on a line, that's in between the bottom line and the second line. That's in between the second line and third line, fourth line, fifth line, and so on. And these notes are F, A, C, and E. You don't need any kind of rhyming thing to remember this, okay? It's just face. F, A, C, and E spells out face. The notes are all in the space, so if you want, you can do face in the space if it helps. Okay, but these are the notes you need to remember, F, A, C, and E. And again, starting from the bottom, working your way up. So face for the notes in the space. Every green bus drives fast for the notes in the lines. Let's draw those in slightly differently. Okay, so I've got face, F, A, C, and E, and every green bus drives fast, E, G, B, D, F. These are the notes on our stave. We've gone from the bottom line all the way to the top line. Now, we do get notes going outside of our stave. Okay, does happen because that there only accounts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different notes. We can play and sing more than 9 different notes. Okay, so when a note goes lower than this E here, so we've got E on our bottom line, notes can go lower than that. They can go, here's our line again, just underneath it. So they are resting just underneath it. Okay, that's E. The note before E is D. If you know your alphabet, you know D comes before E. Before D, we can go lower than that still. We've got no space, we've got no line, we have to draw in our own line. Okay, we don't draw it the whole way, we just draw a small amount to be able to fit our note on. Okay, so we've got a new line there, it stops because the note stops. And that, if you know your alphabet, before D is C. This line here, we call a ledger line. Okay, so we've got notes on the line, note can go just below the line, and if we run out of room then, we need a new ledger line there for the note C. We can go below C again, we can keep going down as low as we want. Okay, so I'll draw another ledger line, and this one's just going to go beneath that line. And if you know what comes before C, it's a B. We can do 2 ledger lines, okay, because we've gone below that first ledger line, so we need a second ledger line. We can go down to A. Okay, that's as low as we're going to get for the time being. You can just keep going down indefinitely if you need to, but we're not going to bother doing that because it just gets very confusing. Okay, you can do the opposite. You can do the notes above. So we've got F here on our top line. We can go above that, just above. Okay, so it's not on the line like F is. F's right in the middle. G is just above it, resting on top of that line. Again, there's no more room after G, so we need a new ledger line, just for a short amount of time, for the note to be A. If we want to do a B after that, because B comes after A in our alphabet, draw a ledger line, draw it resting just on top. We can go above that again, but we've run out of room after that, so we need a second ledger line, and we get note C. And again, we can go higher than that, but we're not going to for the time being. Okay, this is the treble clef and the notes on the treble clef. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out several notes, and I want you to copy it. And it's going to be exercise number 5. Again, if you haven't copied this out, I don't know why, copy it out. You should have copied out where the different notes are. I'm going to draw out lots of different notes, as clear as I possibly can, and I want you to draw in, or sorry, I want you to write in what those notes are. So there's your first one. We'll do it together. It's on the line. Okay, it's on this second line. It's right on it. It's not resting on it, beneath it, or above it. It's right in the middle of it. So I need to work out what note it is based on notes in the lines. I remember every green bus drives fast. I start from the bottom. That would be every, but it's not there. It's on the next one, so I know it's green, so it's the note G. Okay, I'm going to draw a bunch more notes, all different time values, quavers, maybe semi-quavers, minim, semi-breeze, and we need to copy it out and draw on what the note is. Okay, that first one is G. This is your semi-quaver. Remember, it's got the 2 little flicks. Ledger line, second ledger line. Okay, copy that out, work out what these different notes are. All of them, draw in or write in the note letter beneath it. Remember, every green bus drives fast and face in the space. And these are the notes on the treble clef. Okay, as soon as you've done that, I want you to draw second stave. Okay, so don't do it on the same one. Get your ruler or your straight phone or book or whatever it is. Try and stick to the ruler, unlike me there. Okay, draw out your stave. I'm limited by how much space I've got on here. Okay, but draw yours quite long as you can if you can. Or if you can't draw them long, draw out more than one. Okay, I've got limited space on this whiteboard, which is why I keep rubbing stuff out. But you can draw more than one, hopefully, on your bits of paper. So draw out your 5 lines for your stave. We're going to look at one more type of clef. So the first one we looked at was the treble clef, which you get for lots of things like singing, the right hand of the piano, guitars, violins, flutes, and so on. Basically, your high-pitched instruments. We're now looking at our low-pitched instruments. So the left hand of the piano, bass guitars, double basses, cellos, bassoons, so on. These are what's written on the bass clef, B-A-S-S clef. This one's a lot easier to draw. Okay, so from the very bottom left-hand corner, and I want to kind of go diagonally up, curve back around by the time we get to the top. Okay, and you can have a look like that, and then draw 2 little dots there and there. Okay, and this is what your bass clef looks like. So you start in the bottom corner, all the way around, 2 dots in these top 2 spaces. This is called the bass clef. It's also sometimes called the F clef, which you'll find out why later on. Okay, now the notes on the bass clef are not in the same place as the treble clef. Okay, so on the bass clef, let's start with the lines again. Here's our 5 notes on our lines. Okay, and these ones are not E, G, B, D, F, G, B, D, F, A. Okay, so these are our 5 notes on our bass clef on our lines, G, B, D, F, A. And again, the reason I want you to learn about every green bus drives fast is we can now say green buses drive fast always. Doesn't quite make grammatical sense, okay, but sticks with our every green bus drives fast, that green buses drive fast always. Okay, so remember about green buses and how fast they go, and you remember for the treble clef, every green bus drives fast, and for the bass clef, green buses drive fast always. Okay, so copy that out, make sure you've got your notes in, make sure you've written in green buses drive fast always. These are the notes on the lines. Just like treble clef, we can have notes in the spaces. So let's do those as well. Just redraw my lines. Hopefully you've drawn yours really long that you can just do them afterwards. Okay, we've got notes in the spaces, not on the lines, in between them. So one there, one there, one there, and one there. And our notes are A, C, E, G. Now we can't say anything about buses here because we've got no B, so 4 notes A, C, E, G. One way lots of people remember these is all cows eat grass. Make up your own one if you want, if it helps you remember it better, but all cows eat grass helps you remember the notes in the spaces on our bass clef. Okay, so make sure you've drawn out this one, make sure you've drawn out the one before, make sure you've got them written down, and again, for the first exercise we're going to do here, I think we're on exercise 6 now. Just redraw my lines. I'm going to draw out lots of different notes, lots of different time values, and I want you to tell me what that note is. So let's do the first one in this middle line here. It's a minim. I need to remember that green buses drive fast always because it's on a line. It's on the middle line, so green buses drive. Here's the note D. Okay, so let's do a few more of these. Draw it out, copy it out, write in what the note is. Now, just a quick side step, that's a quaver. Okay, it's got the line come down. The flick, if the line comes down, goes on this side. Okay, so it doesn't go around like that. Okay, I draw it on the inside. Like that, okay? Let's do a couple outside of our stave, see if you can remember anything about ledger lines. So there's a ledger line there. It's going to take some working out. Use the notes from the stave, use your knowledge of the alphabet, which you've had since about the age of 4, and try and work out what that note is there. Try and work out this note here. And let's end with that one there. Okay, so there's exercise 6. We worked out the first note. Now try and work out the next 6 notes that we've got on our bass clef. Okay? Now, the last thing we're going to do is I just want to revisit our time values. So just step over. So do another subheading if you want of time values hyphen beans. Okay. Now this is when we get lots of the same notes together. So for example, lots of times earlier on, I was drawing out, for example, lots and lots of quavers. Okay, or lots and lots of semiquavers. Remember, semiquaver's got those 2 flicks. Now, although that's right, there's an easier way of doing it. A much neater way, a better way to save your time. Okay, so 4 quavers there is equal to what looks like this. Okay, instead of having to do the flick all the time, I draw my 4 notes, my lines coming off, and I beam them together. Okay, with semiquavers, it's very similar. 4 notes. Here's my stems, my lines coming off of them. I beam them together. That's 4 quavers. So I draw a second beam. That is 4 semiquavers. Okay, it takes up a lot less space. It's a lot neater looking. It's a lot easier to write than individual semiquavers. Now, what you wouldn't do is if you've got, for example, 3 quavers together, you would not do this. Okay, you don't do that. It gets a bit complicated, but basically, if you've got 3 quavers together, you don't join them all together like that. What you do instead is you join 2 of them together, and you'd have one by itself. Okay, same with semiquavers. If you had 3 of them, or let's do a different number. Let's do 5. You wouldn't join them all together. Okay. What you do instead is you get 4 of them together. And one by itself. Okay, the reason we do that is because I'm going to have to rub all this out because we're in that room. If you go back to your note values from earlier on and the relationships with each other, it's all to do with our crotchets. Okay, we've got 4 crotchets make up one whole semibreve. Crotchets are the easiest thing to keep our time in. Okay, we count to 4 in a bar of 4, 4, and we start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and it's very easy to make our quavers and our semiquavers match up with that. So our quavers, there would be 2 here, beam them together, 2 here, beam them together, 2 here, beam them together, and 2 here, beam them together. Okay, and then what I can do is I can beam these 4 together, and I can beam these 4 together. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't beam these middle 4 together, okay, because generally this is the midpoint of our bar. We don't want anything crossing the midpoint of our bar. We want to leave it nice and easy for us to read. So I join these 2 together and these 2 together, and I also won't join them all together because that gets a little bit confusing. So I have them together like that. Semiquavers, again, very similar. I'll join them together in groupings of 4, nothing more. Okay, so only ever in groupings of 4 or groupings of 2 you can also do. Okay, but if you've got 4 of them together, you group 4 of them together. If you've got 3 of them together, you'll group 2 together and leave 1 by itself. If you've got 5 together, you'll group 4 of them together and leave 1. If you've got 6, for example, what you can do is group 4 of them together and then group the next 2 together by itself like that. it becomes a lot easier to read than 6 individual notes if we group them together. Okay, so that's the last thing on this, and I'll do another video hopefully for your lesson next week.